Part 2, America is broke. Eating some popcorn. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. I'm trying to get in the YouTube algorithm. This is important information. Part 2, America is broke. America is done. Here we go. This is the 2024 fiscal year, their budget.
Still have better customer service. How the mechanics of talent-based immigration could actually grow the economy, but shutting down the border, stopping importing competition to our working poor, making our working poor poorer.
Right.
But you got to think like an economist, and the idiot, the folks here want to talk down to you, talk to you like you're a child, and say, well, if we just did this, we'd be fine. It doesn't work that way. We are now so upside down debt-wise that unless you do something, it's holistic with lots of support I don't think I've ever shown before. Fiscal year 2024. Here's sort of where we're at to date. We've taken in $3,755 billion. Do you see the red here? Okay, the red is the individual income tax. Your country is an income tax-based economic system, where other countries may rely more on a value-added tax.
Right.
Which is a really regressive tax, crushes particularly the middle class. The blue over here, when you start to look at that, this is functionally, we call it social insurance and retirement programs and Social Security. Well, that's actually going out the door immediately, and we have to borrow some to cover it. The blue over here, well, that's actually corporate income taxes. Remember,
pay attention.
The United States, back in about the late 80s, early 90s, we changed much of our corporate tax structure when we started having pass-throughs. Do you remember LLCs, subchapter S's, partnerships, those things? So much of what is corporate activity in the United States flows through to that individual tax line. So when you get the brain trust here, it says, we're just going to raise corporate taxes. Great. Okay, and that's going to solve something? Remember, and we're trying to vet the paper I got the math from. But we have a paper from about a year and a half ago that said in the 2017 tax reform we did, 67% of the corporate tax rate reduction went to wages.
Now, did you hear that? 67% of corporate tax cut went to wages. Why? I never knew that. I never knew that. That's deep.
I have someone from the left who runs around here saying, we're going to raise corporate taxes. Ta-da! What they're doing is basically screwing over the working men and women of the country.
Now, did you hear that? The middle class gets screwed again, as usual. This is so important. Wow, I never knew that. That corporate tax cuts went to wages and they screw. Oh, wow, this is deep.
Works. When your wages go up, the old saying used to be it's inflation. Well, that doesn't get you anything. Or it's productivity. Because you built a tax code that said we can afford to buy the next better piece of equipment. We can build better processes. We can build better supply chains. We're becoming more productive, and you as a worker get part of that.
Right.
But part of that productivity also is a tax system that maximizes economic vitality. Economic growth is moral. If you want to have fewer poor people in your society, if you want to close income inequality, you do it not through transfer payments. We have data over data over data. That many of the transfer payments at the end of the decade make people poorer because you disassociate them, their lives from being part of the society, part of work.
That makes sense.
So the secret is have an economy that grows, that needs them. Getting economics right is moral. But this is the reality. When you get people, when we start talking about, do you see these tiny little wedges there? Well, that's excise taxes. Some will think of it as tariffs. When you actually see some miscellaneous, your society is.
And that's the fact. When the United States was founded, there was no income tax until Woodrow Wilson put it into place in 1913. And that's when the Rothschilds or the Illuminati took control and the Federal Reserve Bank was created. And the banking system and the Rothschilds came in here. They created the IRS, who we pay our tax. That's a private corporate. That ain't a part of the United States. The IRS, where you have to pay. We're paying interest on our money. But anyway, the United States were getting money on tariffs. That's how it was founded, on tariffs. On all the products and goods that came here, we taxed it. And that's how the United States functioned up until, plus slavery, free labor, until 1913. Woodrow Wilson, who was a 33rd degree Mason as well, bought and paid for it. That was the beginning of the fall, actually 1913, when he became president. Then we had the Great Depression, and FDR saved us, but he was a Mason as well. Okay, back to it.
Finance, income tax, this is FICA, and this is corporate. Mark my words, I'll probably be long gone from this place. What the Democrats are doing, policy-wise, and honestly, the Republicans' unwillingness to actually do tough things, into this decade, you're going to all be having a discussion of having a national VAT, value-added tax, just like the rest of the world. And all the crap discussion of, well, it's not progressive enough. It's regressive. It hurts working men and women. Working men and women get their heads kicked in.
You ain't lying.
Because
Inflation.
it's the only way you can start to confiscate enough resources from people. So let's actually talk through, let's knock down some of the craziness that keeps being said around here.
A value-added tax to make up for the tax that you already paying for another tax just to pay the interest on debt. This is insane. This is insane. Wow. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, please.
This is a brand new chart for me. U.S. fiscal dynamics, now and then. And we're going to go way back. Let's actually do the previous from 1984 to 2023, and then current. Our tax revenues are up. We're taking in more receipts. Technically, they're not revenues. Revenues are what you earn. Receipts are what you confiscate. So just a bit of tax lingo there. But it's our spending. You see, tax receipts are up, but our spending is way up. And when you see the white line over here, deficits, it's just basically the derivative of, hey, tax receipts are up, but we're spending faster than those receipts are going up, therefore you get a deficit.
Exactly.
If you get someone who says, well,
and a deficit mean you broke. You broke. America's broke.
2017 tax cuts. No, tax receipts are up. I have another chart I'm going to show you here. Corporate tax rates, or corporate tax collections. Don't think about the rate. It's about what you take in, are actually above the mean. And how much of this spending is the Orwellian named Inflation Reduction Act? So the Democrats lost their mind when we did 2017 tax reform. Remember, it was actually a few $1 trillion, $5.5 trillion. But functionally, 4 of it were also covered with direct taxes. We just moved things around to maximize productivity. It was about getting companies to move back to the United States, move their organizations, their intellectual property, the things they were making money on, get them back to the United States. We had to become competitive in the world again. The other $1.5 trillion, well, that's actually, the Democrats, that's the driver of the debt. No, it's not, because it turns out it wasn't $1.5 trillion. The latest data is almost $900 billion of that has been covered. by the economic growth. Yet, when the Democrats controlled this place in the last session, they dropped $2 trillion in subsidies, handouts to big business.
2 trillion in subsidy handouts to big business. And I'm waiting for him to tell me how much they done gave to these migrants who ain't never paid into nothing. Let's get to that part, Senator.
And all that's borrowed money. How many people?
Oh, so the 2 trillion that they gave to big business, to corporations, is all borrowed money. We broke. Wow, you can't make this up. You cannot make this up.
When was the last time you had a reporter that actually covered any of this fairly? How many was the last time you met a reporter that owned a calculator? Public has no understanding what's going on out there.
I
And I
understand.
keep trying to provide this chart over and over. This is U.S. government revenues. The signs should say receipts. This is mislabeled. Green, individual income taxes. Remember, we're mostly an individual income tax country. When you see spikes like this is the dot-com bubble of functionally 1999 or 2000, 2001. The dot-coms, that's capital gains. Here, this spike here, that's actually functioning people were getting lots of COVID money. So it was direct spend from the federal government. We borrowed it, gave it to them. They had to pay taxes on it. This line here, the blue, that's FICA taxes. That's your Social Security, that's your Medicare. Very stable. Down here, this is corporate taxes. Do you see the line? Remember, this is the regime of the new corporate tax rate since 2017. Tax receipts, the actual tax dollars are up. And it's above the mean of the last couple decades. You need vitality. You need dynamism. And there's lots of things we could do policy-wise. The United States is becoming a bit more oligopoly. Many of our businesses are becoming far too big and far too protectionist.
Absolutely.
But that's government. Government likes big organizations because they're easier to manipulate to get them to do what they want. Hey, here's a subsidy. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Engage in our social policy, engage in our political policy, and we're going to hand you billions. Instead of what you do when you do tax reform of everyone, knife fight, battle it out. The best product, the most dynamic company, the one that moves fastest, the most innovative, wins. That's the way an American economy, a market economy is supposed to work. Instead, now you have and you'll actually have our brothers and sisters on the left here actually go behind these microphones and use, our industrial policy is this. Our planned economy is this. God, I keep waiting for them to build a 5-year plan and hold up the little red cards. You don't get that reference, go look it up. So, this is the driver of the day. Remember how I showed you tax receipts are up, but our spending is up more? Where's that spending? It's in what we call mandatory. In many ways, this isn't Republican or Democrat. It's what we are as a society. We calculate in about 10 years, 23% of our population will be 65 and up.
Now, and you know why the population is older? Because nobody is having children. That's why it's going to be an old population. Like China. Nobody is, well, shoot, but it's like 8 billion of them, so they'll be fine. Nobody is having children. And if you're not having children, what happens? You become distinct along with the LGBTQXYZ agenda.
But the politics will weaponize that very sentence I just gave you, but it's math. It's what we are. It's demographics. We're having dramatically fewer children and have for the last couple decades when we got older. If we tell the truth about that, we can look at what is the cost driver. So when you get folks that come and say, well, almost all the cost driver is interest and healthcare costs. And a decade from now, when the Social Security Trust Fund is gone, do we backfill it? So the brain trust here will say, well, let's do this. We'll do the ACA, Obamacare, or the Republican alternative, or Medicare for all. Those are financing bills. Once again, if our body here would tell the truth, that's who gets subsidized and who has to pay. They don't change what we pay. Technology, cures, disruptions, better ways to do it. But we keep much of the technology that could crash the price of healthcare here, we keep it illegal. Because there's armies of lobbyists in our hallways who don't want to compete against your ability to use technology to keep yourself and your family healthier.
Now that's a fact. United States is the only country that analyzes its citizens by the bad food. All of it's bad. All of it's processed. The things that they put in these foods make you sick, to make you go to the doctor, and make the pharmaceutical companies wealthy. Oh my God.
Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. Ford just...
Oh my God. You can't make this up. I lost it. Well, and it's to make you sick, to make the pharmaceutical companies money, to make the medical industry money. That's a fact. Most of what we eat is banned in other countries. It's called big business to keep you sick and put you on chemical medication. And I'm going to get into that Flexner report, because the Rockefellers were the one that closed all the homeopathic schools and the holistic schools. We had over 5,000 holistic schools and doctors that came out of that Rockefeller through the Flexner report. Made sure that they were closed. By the time they finished with the Flexner report, it was like 4 left. This was all planned. But I'm going to get into that Flexner report because I'll give you the statistics at a later date.
How many... I've been able to attach a handful of AI and algorithm bills to provide customer service at the IRS or the VA or other things. And the hate we've gotten from the government employees unions, from these. But the fact of the matter is, it's moral. It would be better customer service for our constituents. It would be faster, better, cheaper. And the fact of the matter is, there's no pension with it.
No pension.
Solutions that's not tax or cut and burn. It's
no pension with AI. Sure ain't. And AI don't call in sick. AI come to work 24 hours a day. I'm going to get into AI is going to replace your job. Yes, it is. That is the plan. You're going to be replaced by a robot. Yes, you will.
Policy. And this place won't engage in the policy because we're afraid of the... We are protectionists. We are protectionists of the government bureaucracies and incumbent business models. Is that Republican or Democrat? It's math. Oh. And I'm not going to bother you with that. Madam Speaker Pro Tem, may I ask how much time I have?
Gentleman has 23 minutes remaining.
All right. And for those who are trying to take down my words, I'm sorry for talking so fast. Tax revenues projected billions of dollars. I'm just, once again, want to make the point. Individual income taxes projected to be up dramatically. Payroll taxes up fairly substantially. Corporate income taxes, fairly healthy, just that they're staying within. Other types of receipts are also up. But where I really want to get back to is trying to make this point, and then we're going to do some actual tax history. This is from CBO, Congressional Budget Office. It's not Republican or Democrat, it's math. 100